Today, I will be teaching you how to make empanadas. Your first step, you're going to want to cut up half of an onion. While I cut up the rest of this onion, I'll tell you a little bit about chili. For food imports, Chile imports many different kinds of food, primarily food like pork, beef, and dairy and wheat. Chile's main supplier is China, Brazil, and the U.S., costing over $28 billion. It exports large amounts of salmon, wine, fruit, and nuts. Fruits like grapes and blueberries to countries like China and the U.S. for about $12 billion. Common breakfast dishes include hot bread rolls topped with butter, jam, dulce de leche or avocado, and scrambled egg dishes with cheese or onions, typically ate at 8 a.m. to be on time for their schedule. And then their common lunch dishes are empanadas, which I'm making in this video, pastel de chocolo, which is a meat pie with corn filling, and completo, or the Chilean hot dog, which includes a hot dog, bread, tomato, avocado, and mayo. And then lastly, their common dinner dishes are asado, which is grilled meats, usually beef, and it has salt and simple seasonings, and is sometimes served with bread, salsa, or other sauces. And the quesillo, which is a traditional stew that includes ingredients like chicken, beef, corn, and pumpkin, and some kind of broth. Some common snacks that you could find there are pan de pebre. This is a bread with fresh salsa, and they add things such as tomato, onion, or cilantro, along with chili peppers. And then you want to just get your onion done like this, and I'll do it off camera a little bit. As you can see, I've cut up the onion more. And then now you want to use half of a pepper, and you want to just dice that as well. Just to jump right back into it, we'll do desserts. Some of the common desserts are leche asada, and it's like a baked flan. It's made with milk, eggs, sugar, and a little vanilla. And it is slightly caramelized and is usually served cold. And then Chile is very known for its common drinks. The most common drink, it's mate, which is a warm herbal drink made by steeping dried leaves in hot water and is often shared with friends or family and is sipped slowly. And then the second most popular is Chilean wine, and this comes from grapes grown in the country's valley. Red wine is the most popular, but Chile also produces white wine and sparkling wines. Now that your onion and pepper is cut up, you're going to want to incorporate it in a pan with 1 pound of ground beef. You're going to want to try to just break up the meat as much as you can and not let things stick. Just combining everything together is the key here. Now I'll be talking about common utensils in Chile. For the utensils, large cooking pots are used very often for like soups, and then clay and ceramic dishes are also very common for baking things like the pastel de chocolo. Grills and tongs for asado or barbecues, and then knives and cutting boards are also really common because they like their vegetables, meat, and seafood. And then wooden spoons are very popular for stirring stews and sauces together. For their cookware, things like clay pots are traditionally used. And then metal pots for similar things like cooking stews, soups, and boiling vegetables. Grills for their barbecues. They love their asados. And then baking trays for empanadas, which again, I'm making in this video. And then their saucepans because they love making tons of kind of sauces, whether it's like caramel sauces or other smaller sauces for other kinds of dishes. Table manners in Chile is pretty common. Wait for everyone to sit before you start eating. Use fork and knives for most meal. Be polite and don't rush while you're eating. Now you're going to want to strain out your beef. Just get out all the liquids that you can that's just in the meat. Once you do that, you're going to want to put it back on the heat a little bit and just continue to mix it around. I'm going to jump back into the table manners. I didn't get to share everything, so bread is usually on the table and can be eaten with the meals, and then meals are social and are just meant for everybody to eat slowly with family and friends. Just continue to do this until everything looks combined and all the meat looks cooked, and then your next step, you're going to want to get any cup that you can, and I'm just using a frozen pie like crust from any store. Anyone will work. And you just want to punch out holes in any size that you would want your empanadas to be. Remember, you're folding them in half, so you don't want them to be too small. Continue to cut them out, and then with the stuff that you have left, you can roll it out and just keep doing this until they're all done. You don't want to waste the dough, so just continue to roll it out and use as many as you can. Adding the meat, I used a pretty small cup. I probably should have used a little bit bigger, but I added a tablespoon of meat, which seemed like a good amount. And then add your cheese now. And then folding it, you want to pinch it with a fork so everything stays nice and tight together and it doesn't open up while it's baking. I'm going to repeat this step for all of them. It takes a little bit, so I'll keep talking about the history. The most common place in Chile is La Vaga Central, which is very famous for its food. It's a market in Santiago with fresh produce, local dishes, and snacks. And then street food stands are also very common. They serve quick things that you can just eat on the go. Our next step is going to be the egg wash. You just want to get as much egg that it just takes to cover. So crack 2 eggs in a bowl, mix them, then just wash over it. You want to coat everything nice and evenly. Some unique Chilean snacks and foods are chapulines, which are toasted grasshoppers, which are either served spicy or salty. And then munde, which is fermented corn drink from the Machu people, which is just a slightly sour corn drink. Continue to add that egg wash, making sure there's an even coat on all of them, and don't be scared to use all the egg. The more, the better. A little fun fact about Chile is that it is the longest country in the world. Next step, you're going to want to put these empanadas in the oven for around 6 minutes. Now just sit down and wait for them to be done. Once they're done, they should look something like this. Be careful when you're taking it out of the oven. But now hopefully you learned a little bit something about Chile and the country itself, and maybe you learned how to make empanadas today. Thank you for listening.